Hey, this is Jenny Jones. I am here from the Growth Store and wanted to talk to you really quick. I'm going to try to make this video as quick as I possibly can. So let's get into it. If you don't know me and it's your first time to this channel, I am Jenny Jones. I have three businesses and I've been in business for nearly 30 years, small business. I have three master's degrees. I have one undergrad degree, accounting, finance, IT, you name it. And I love teaching, teach grad school. Teaching a lot less now because I want to have more freedom to teach online. Enough of that. Got that all out of the way. Let me kind of tell you what's going on and how tariffs may reshape your business. And I want to do a quick demonstration. And I love doing visuals because that's the way I teach. My students love that. But if you're here and you want to grow your small business, the Growth Store is the place to do it because I have a large range of different things that I talk about. But today I want to talk about tariffs and how you need to be in front of tariffs. So we're going to go over that. I'm going to go over to my desktop. I'm going to walk you through a couple of things. And again, this is going to be a short video. If you enjoy coming back and learning how to grow your business or different things like that, wouldn't mind if you hit the like button and the subscribe button to kind of let YouTube know we're kind of putting it down here and we're putting the juice in. Let's go to my desktop. Let me show you how tariffs could affect your business, but not only could they affect your business, I want you to be in front of tariffs just in case. I'm gonna give you probably about 5 different keys to kind of help you. Let's go through that. All right, let's get into it. And again, I want to make this as short as possible, so bear with me here. All right, so there's really 3 areas, right, that I'm going to concentrate on. I'm going to talk about the GDP, I'm going to talk about tariffs, and I'm going to talk about your customers, right, and their effects. So if you're in front of events, that's why when President-elect Trump became the next president, or when he met the requirements, people started already moving and shifting and the market started shifting. So you have to be aware of that. And I'm going to talk about that even when I go into kind of looking at some stocks and stuff you may want to add, or as you put your retirement plan together, or even your self-employed retirement plan together. I'm going to have you, so you take this next presidential administration and let you get the advantages of it from being a business owner. All right. So it's 3 areas we're going to look at. We're going to look at the GDP. And I'm going to be as less technical as I possibly can, as my students like me to be, and my coaching clients. But listen, the GDP is simply, it's the gross domestic product. And that, what that basically means is how much do we as a nation generate? What does our cash register look like? How profitable are we? That's kind of not to be technical, but let's look at it as a cash register in the sky for each country, right? So we have our GDP, China has a GDP, European nations have their GDP. So everybody has their own cash register where they measure the success of their particular country. So ours, it's the gross domestic product. It's a formula. It's about 4 or 5 factors, but we're going to talk about them once we get to them. All right. So we'll talk about it next slide, actually. So next we're going to have tariffs and what are tariffs, kind of what do they do, and how does it trickle down to the customer? So all 3 of these are going to have a factor, and this is what you need to be paying attention to. And I think people want to shut off the TV and, hey, I just want to concentrate on my business. That's not where you need to be right now. You need to be in front of the news so you can make moves in front of it and be able to make sure that your business survives through this next administration. I think we could not only survive, but I think we can thrive. We have to be in front of it. Let's take a look here of what the GDP is and how it's going to make sense. All right, so let's go ahead and get with it. All right, so really simple, right? I want to make this as simple as possible. Let's say the piece of the American lemon pie. I call it a lemon pie because it's like, hey, apple pie, lemon pie is where you can make lemons and have your own make your people were not happy. Some people were not happy with the election results. I'm like this. Hey, listen, I got lemons. I'm going to make lemonade. And if I'm going to make lemonade, I'm going to set up a lemonade stand on the side of the sidewalk and I'm going to sell lemonade. That's just the way I am. I don't get caught up. I'm independent. I can care less. I know whoever's in office, I'm going to try to maximize whatever they're doing, I'm going to try to make sure that I meet that same energy within my business and be in front of it. So this is the lemon pie, right? And the way this works is this is the GDP in a nutshell, how our country splits up the GDP and how the revenues from the GDP make up the actual GDP pie. So all these factors, you have consumer investment. So we're consumption. So the largest piece of the lemon pie, which makes up the largest portion of the GDP, which really decides on our success or failure as a country, the largest piece of that pie is consumption. How much are we consuming as a nation, right? So 75% of that, and this was basically done in 2022. I just wanted to give you a snapshot. So it's the 2022 GDP components, right? So the next one is investments, right? What are we doing? Are we building our roads? Are we building homes? Those types of things that we're doing. Next is government spending, right? It's part of the calculation as well, 19.47. And again, this was in 2022. And then we have right here, we have imports, right? Imports. What are we bringing in, right, into our country? And then that is subtracted out from exports. What are we sending out? I have strawberries here because we send almonds, we send avocados. There's a lot of things that we send overseas and people buy from us. So imports is what we buy from other people. I have chips here, and maybe there's some chips or manufacturing chips or something we may buy from outside the country because the labor to produce them is a lot cheaper, a lot less expensive. That's the confusing part about it, because they say they want to bring jobs back here, but we are a country that's not going to accept below minimum wage, and we want our wages to increase. There's a give and take. Something's going to have to give. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. What I want you to understand is this is the pie here, right? But who makes up the largest piece of the pie, right? We have 5 areas that make up the GDP. And the largest area, which takes up more than half, is consumption. How are we as a nation consuming? That's why a lot of times you'll see, well, they'll give these stimulus checks and things like that. They're called stimulus checks because they're to stimulate the economy or the GDP. When you start seeing that, you'll know that the economy needs help. So they'll put money in your pockets for you to go spend for the GDP. Funny thing about it is they end up taxing you on the next year. It's weird. I don't know how people don't understand that. But anyway, I digress. I just wanted to make sure that you understood that piece. Let's go to the next piece and see how tariffs. So this is the GDP to break down. I wanted to give you that, right? Now let's look at tariffs, right? So we have tariffs. Let's look at tariffs from China and Mexico, which will be the two largest countries that will affect our imports, right? So if we import goods from China or Mexico, right now the proposed tariffs are anywhere between 60% to 200%. I know, strange, right? And I think this is more what I'm thinking personally. I don't think he can get tariffs that high. I don't know. But I know that it would be, the trickle down would be very, very bad. And we're going to explain it to you here. So when they say hit us with a tariff, that really means that if you're going to buy, you as a small business owner, go to buy products overseas, or you go to buy for your Etsy store or for your Amazon store, there's going to be an additional tax that's placed on that. And that's a tariff, right? Tariff is a form of a tax. Tariffs are really for imports and exports, right? But it's a tax. It's just called a tariff. Anything outside of lines or state lines or international lines, it's called a tariff. You probably heard the term duty free and things of that nature when you're getting off the airplane or you're going to another country. It's things you can bring in that don't be taxed. And so I don't want to get hung up on that, but do know that whatever that tax is, if it's 200%, it will go on your bill as a small business owner. I want to buy some t-shirts. I want to buy some thermoses, and I want to resell them in my store. There's going to be a 60 to 80 to 200% markup on that when I buy it. That's going to affect you as a small business owner. That's your cost of goods sold. How much does it cost you to put that product up on the shelf or in your digital store to resell? That cost is going to go up. So where it used to cost you $5 to buy a t-shirt, right? And then you sell the t-shirt for, I don't know, $10, right? Double the cost. Now it's going to cost you $10 to get the shirt. So now you can probably go up on a shirt. Maybe no one's willing to spend more than $12. So now your profit goes from $5 to $2, right? It's just so you understand how tariffs work, because you as the importer will get taxed. Now, what you also need to understand is our exports will get hit. That's another story. If we're sending almonds, we're sending, I don't know, lemons, right? Whatever of other countries are buying from us that our farmers are to produce. Now they're getting hit, right? And so they're losing costs on their end to resell it, because these other countries say, well, you're going to raise your tariffs, we'll raise our tariffs. So now you're hurting the small bit. It's not a win-win for everybody. Somebody's going to lose in the tariff game, right? And regardless of whose side you're on, I'm just letting you know how it works for you and your business. All right. So the ultimate person who's going to lose on both sides is the actual end user or the customer. So if they're buying a t-shirt from your shop and you say $7 tees was the name of your shop, now it's not $7 tees anymore, it's $10 tees, right? That's an increased cost because you or the small business owner always passes that cost off. I know large corporations pass it off to us as small company or small individuals. If my wife and I go shopping or whatever, we're paying more at the grocery stores, and the reason why is because they're passing that cost on to us, and that cost is for manufacturing or maybe even different cars, aluminum and all that. There's so many more elements. Maybe the cell phones go up $30 or something like that. That's how the end user ends up paying for that. So that's what a tariff is, right? And let me throw in another component here. And these are the things that I need you to be aware of when you're out there, right? The next is the tell of the economic cycle, right? And this is very, very important. So do not miss this point. The economic cycle works like this. If the economy is growing and it's expanding, right? The economy is growing, it's expanding. People will have more money in their pocket, so they have a tendency to purchase more. So they'll buy the new cars or buy the new homes, right? Interest rates are looking good. The economy is expanding. It is growing. It is killing it, right? So people tend to buy more. But what happens is when the economy starts to contract, right? People just move to essentials. They start cooking at home more, and their money gets funny, right? And the money gets a little bit tighter. This cycle happens every 5 to 7 years. What is happening right now today as we look at it, November 15th? What's happening right now is the economy is on the uproar, right? It's on the upshift. So we are leaving what is considered a contraction and going into an expansion. Now, what a lot of people fail to realize is the Biden administration had the second fastest and most profitable growth in the actual in the markets since Bill Clinton, right? No other president has had the enormous success, believe it or not, as the Biden administration. And the reason why, they were recovering out of a pandemic down here, and they stimulated the economy using different measures, different acts to stimulate the economy. What was happening is all the companies benefited from that. All the Fortune 500 companies benefited from that, which is how they measured how presidents did. The economy right now is robust. So if you look at your 401k, I look at my wife's 401k, look at my investments, we did very well. What did not change was the prices at the grocery store, right? And that's what did not get them reelected, right? Because people felt squeezed. who did not feel squeezed was the people who have their money in the markets, because the markets did very well. When I say very well, they did very well, right? And me being, a stockbroker, and I follow that, markets did great. But the individual small business or the small individuals at home did not feel that. And the reason why is because when we had this contraction right here from COVID, the companies did not adjust their prices when we started to come out. They kept the same high prices here because we had we had a distribution problem. We couldn't get when COVID was happening, we couldn't get masks. It seemed like a long time ago, but it was only a couple of years ago. So there's a lot of things we couldn't get. We couldn't get chips. The phones went up and all that. What happened is the corporations never adjusted their prices. So that's what happened, right? So then when you come out of the contraction, then people start purchasing again, buying new phones, start taking cruises and all that because they have money in their pocket, right? This particular one felt different because people felt like they were being squeezed. And one of the things that Vice President Harris ran on was price gouging, right? And what price gouging was basically saying, hey, the big corporations, we want them to not charge you. We want to put a watchdog in there so they wouldn't charge you, the individual consumer, more on your purchases. So those are some of the things, and they ran on that, and that didn't fare well for them. So as I wrap this up, let me cover two more points with you, and you have to be aware of this because, like I said, these economic cycles run in 5 to 7 year swings, so you have to be prepared for them. Right now, if you're not in the markets, you've already missed your opportunity for a lot of stocks or a lot of investments. But fear not, you can still be in front of it, and you need to know how it's going to affect your particular business. So here's what you need to be looking for when this happens, and if tariffs. So you need to pay a lot of attention to tariffs. If they do, in fact, get imposed, you want to know how much they are because they're going to affect your business, right? Because what's going to happen when tariffs are imposed is getting a piece of the lemon pie. When people squeeze that lemon out for consumerism, and we talked about it here, consumers are going to drive the economy. What you have to be prepared for is when they start squeezing this particular person or the consumption side, where people go out and purchase and buy things, when they start squeezing that lemon, people are only going to flock to needs. They're only going to flock to what they need. They need deodorant. They need, toilet paper. Those are things that they need. I'm just giving an example. Those are called, those are, when a person does that, we have when the economy is going to expand here, right? We talked about it. People will buy things that they just want. Hey, I want to do this, want to do that. When the economy gets tight, people buy essentials, body soap, tissue, toilet paper. Those are things that they need, right? And they're not going to be moving to their wants. So is your business, as we wrap up, is your business one of want or is it one of need? Because when the economy gets tight because of tariffs, you need to have a business that can shift to one of need, or you mix a want with a need and you combine the two together to still be able to create a sale. It's possible, but you have to be thinking about it right now, not tomorrow, not later. You have to be thinking about how can my business still continue to grow in an economy where people are shifting just to their needs, right? And the reason why is because if people start getting squeezed here, increase to the consumer, you can't have a product that people just want. You have to have a product that people need, or product or service. And if I were you, I would switch to a business model that allows people to get both the need and the want. Whatever that business is, you have to think about it. We'll come up with some ideas here on this channel. Last point I want to make is, if you foresee or foreshadow things that are going to happen in the actual tariff market, you got to be paying attention to this. Do not sleep on this. Don't follow it for the rhetoric. Follow it for what adjustments I need to make in my business. These are some small key tips that I'll give you for the small business growth store. This is what we do here. What you should start doing is considering a system or positioning yourself to be ready for more coupons, because people always love a coupon, especially if your demographic or your avatar or the people you're targeting are women. I hate to say it, but women love coupons. How do I know? I'm married to a person that's a coupon clipper, right? And she's even turned my kids into coupon clippers. It's crazy. But coupons move the needle in your business. I promise you they will. But those are the things you need to start incorporating. Another thing is, and I shared this already as we kind of wrap up, is pay attention to understand the economic trends. Where are people going? What's happening? Do people have money in their pockets? Are the interest rates where they should? Pay attention to the Federal Reserve. Are they going to raise interest rates? Are they going to lower interest rates? Because that's going to determine how much money people have in their pockets. That's another series I'm definitely going to do. Another thing is diversify your services and or your products. We talked about it here when we said, hey, you know what? You just used to have a want. Hey, I want a new t-shirt. I want that. No, you need to diversify, develop needs. People ask me, Jenny, why do you run 3 businesses? I have 3 businesses. That's a combination of needs and wants. I combine them all because I understand the markets. If I want to make money all the time, I need to understand what people are buying when the economy is expanding. I need to be knowing what people are buying when the economy is shrinking, right? But I still want to be on the purchasing end of a client and when they make their decisions. So let's diversify your offerings. Don't just keep the same offering. It is never going to work, right? You can ask, I can go on and on. I can talk about businesses that failed to diversify are no longer here, right? And then you might want to start considering lowering your prices. You never want to be a loss leader, but you might want to be able to lower your prices just a little bit. And that would mean lowering your expenses, the expenses you may have now. You may want to lower those so you can have an opportunity to lower your prices to reduce your overall expenses. Let's say you have an expense out there that you're paying this much for. If you cut that in half, it'll afford you the opportunity to lower your prices and still be able to move the same amount of units. This is Jenny Jones from the Small Business Growth Store. This is your overview here on how tariffs could affect your business and how you need to be in front of them. What I will tell you is I do not believe tariffs will get to 200%, but that's what's being proposed. I'm telling you. And the reason why that's being proposed, I'm not going to get into that right now. We'll talk about it later time. This has been Jenny Jones. Please like, subscribe. If you want more breakouts, more juice like this on growing your business, I'm going to be bringing it to you all day long. You guys take care. Please like, subscribe, share with others if this is very informative for you. Goodbye for now.